I, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, stand before you as one of you, a son of this soil, to tell you that we've changed the story. We've taken back our gold.
Welcome to AfriGlobal 24, your trusted source for breaking news, deep insights, and stories shaping Africa and the world. Stay informed, stay connected, and experience the news that matters. Right here, 24/7. In the heart of West Africa lies Burkina Faso, a nation once defined by poverty, dependence, and the export of raw materials. A land rich in gold, yet impoverished in infrastructure and industry. Until now. Under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso has embarked on a dramatic transformation, turning its gold reserves and mining sector into the cornerstone of a new economic model. A model that doesn't simply sell bullion abroad, but builds factories, refineries, and jobs at home. A model that envisions a future where Burkina Faso becomes not just a gold exporter, but an industrial powerhouse. For decades, Burkina Faso's gold was mined by foreign companies, exported unrefined, and largely processed abroad. The profits walked out the gates, the jobs stayed overseas, the value added stayed out of reach. But in recent years, a shift has taken place, one driven by a belief that Burkina Faso's wealth must serve its people first. By 2025, official statements declared that the country had earned some $18 billion in gold sector revenue since Traoré assumed power in 2022. The logic is unmistakable. If the state can capture a larger share of the gold value chain through royalties, national participation, and domestic processing, it can fund hospitals, factories, schools, and infrastructure. In effect, transforming one of Africa's poorest nations into a $500 billion opportunity. At the center of this transformation is a revised mining code. In mid-2024, the state increased its free carried interest in mining projects and tightened control over exports and value addition. Mines once operated under near total foreign domination are now under national strategic management. 5 major gold mines, Bungu, Wagmian, Sanbrado, Kiaka, and Toega, have been brought under state control or enhanced public participation. But the vision goes further. In late 2023, the government began constructing the country's first gold refinery, a facility designed not simply to ship raw nuggets overseas, but to refine gold domestically, creating jobs, skills, industrial activity, and higher value retention. At the same time, the country launched its first mine waste treatment plant, built locally by Burkinabe engineers, another pivot away from dependency. The stakes are enormous. Gold already accounts for roughly 70% of Burkina Faso's export earnings and a sizable portion of its GDP. But until now, the chain ended with raw export and minimal domestic value addition. Under Traoré's plan, that changes. The objective, to turn gold not just into reserves, but into factories, infrastructure, and sustained growth. The term $500 billion powerhouse may sound audacious, but the logic is unfolding piece by piece. Imagine a Burkina Faso where gold is refined locally, used to support industrial zones, underpin transport corridors, power new factories, finance schools and clinics. Imagine rural regions transformed through mining revenues into hubs of manufacturing rather than sources of raw material extraction. That is the vision. Already, national mining authorities report higher state revenue, improved contractual terms, and stronger regulatory frameworks. By renegotiating and reclaiming mining rights, the state is asserting a model of resource sovereignty rather than passive extraction. At the same time, security and infrastructure remain significant challenges. Burkina Faso still contends with insurgency, instability, and the legacy of underdevelopment. But the government argues that the revenues from gold can fund the security architecture, build roads in remote regions, and support industrial diversification. Analysts project that, if sustained, economic growth could average 8% annually, lifting millions out of poverty. The foreign dimension is also shifting. Western mining firms that dominated for decades are now facing tougher terms, higher state stakes, and greater scrutiny. In some cases, assets have been nationalized or reclaimed under state control. But with this assertiveness comes opportunity. Burkina Faso is positioning itself as a partner for non-traditional investors, regional integration, and industrial co-development. An industrial park near Ouagadougou is being planned to absorb mining-linked revenue into manufacturing. Renewable energy infrastructure is being developed to power refineries and factories. Agriculture and mining now sit side by side in the national plan. The message from the capital is clear. Mining is not just extraction. It is the beginning of a supply chain, a skill chain, a wealth chain. In a national address, Traoré emphasized, "Our gold must serve our nation. Our mines must finance our schools. Our children must build their future here, not abroad." His assertion carries weight because the policies backing it are visible. Mines are changing ownership structures. Laws are changing. Local processing is expanding. The rhetoric is backed by reform. Critics caution that such rapid change risks alienating investors, raising operational cost, and placing burdens on the state in volatile security conditions. Some question the figures of revenue and the sustainability of growth without political reform. But even with those reservations, the trajectory is unmistakable. This is resource nationalism with a development engine. Moreover, the gold-driven plan is integrated into a broader industrialization agenda. Processing mines is just the first step. Factories will use refined gold to back local currency reserves. Manufacturing will use revenue to produce local goods. Infrastructure will connect mines to markets. Services will grow around these industries. A ripple effect is expected. When one link in the chain strengthens, the next link becomes possible. Ultimately, if Burkina Faso can scale this model over the next decade, capturing 50% or more of the value of its gold output domestically, using refined product to underwrite industry, and driving multiplier effects, the $500 billion powerhouse label may prove conservative. The nation could leap from raw material exporter to value creator. This transformation is not happening quietly. Across the Sahel region, neighbors watch with interest. Mali, Niger, and others are beginning to reevaluate their own mining sectors. The concept of African states taking control of their resources is gaining momentum. Burkina Faso's model may become a blueprint. Meanwhile, businesses are hiring local experts. Vocational training centers expand. Engineers and geologists of Burkina Faso are now in demand. The newer generation sees mining not as leaving the country, but anchoring value in it. The refinery will create jobs. The factories will multiply them. The mining waste plant signals that even byproducts have economic value. In capital and countryside alike, signs of change are showing. Roads once neglected now carry heavy equipment to mine sites. Towns once peripheral now host processing plants. A new generation of entrepreneurs emerges. The wealth chain, for the first time, has a front end in Ouagadougou and a tail end that reaches into villages. The world may continue to talk of gold production volumes and export figures, but for Burkina Faso, the focus is different. It is not just ounces mined. It is incomes generated, industries founded, communities strengthened. It is education funded, hospitals built, factories humming. The gold is not leaving. It is staying, building, expanding. If the model succeeds, it could shift West Africa's economic map. Burkina Faso could move from the bottom of GDP rankings to one of the region's fastest growing economies. Partnerships with regional neighbors could expand the industrial belt. And the broader narrative of Africa as a supplier of raw materials could begin to change. This is the story of transformation, of a nation saying that wealth begins not with extraction, but with creation. Of leadership betting on sovereignty and industry rather than aid and resource dependency. Of gold, not as the end, but the beginning. In the unfolding chapters of Burkina Faso's development, the mines will remain foundational, but their purpose has changed. No longer simply mines to the world, they are mines that anchor a nation's future. And under Captain Traoré's vision, the land of upright men is no longer merely surviving, it is building. Bit by bit, bar by bar, factory by factory, hospital by hospital, the gold is turning into hope, and hope into an economy. The promise of $500 billion powerhouse may seem distant today, but with every reform, every plant, every job, it becomes more tangible. The question is no longer if Burkina Faso can change. It is how fast, and whether the rest of Africa will follow. Because in the end, transformation isn't about numbers, it's about people. And for this nation, those people are finally at the center of its wealth. You've been watching Afro Global 24. your window into Africa and the world. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on the latest stories shaping our continent and beyond. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a report. And join the conversation in the comments below. Until next time, this is AfriGlobal 24, bringing Africa closer to the globe 24 hours a day.